time. Happy Aged Care Employee
Day.
Woo! We raise our roof for all our heroes of aged care. As we know, heroes in aged care wear name badges. And we salute you all, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. And we're going to have a whole lot of shout outs during the show. So if you feel like you need to recognize someone in your midst, someone who's there in the trenches all day, every day, giving their heart and soul, blood, sweat and tears, let's recognize them. Let's show them the love today. We welcome your shout outs, and we welcome you joining us at our open mic at the half-hour mark. And with that said, it's over to Julie. Julie, why aged care? Where did it all begin? You're in gerontology. You've got the longest running aged care. We're going to talk about that, but why aged care? Where did it all begin?
Good question, Owen. I was actually talking to one of my interns this morning about the same thing, and I think one day, maybe 20 years ago, I did workers' comp back in the day when I started, and I had to fly to a regional town in South Australia for a day to do a psychological assessment, and got up at 4:30 in the morning, left Sydney, flew to Adelaide, got a hire car, drove out to this little town, and I had to do an assessment on this lady. She wasn't aged. She was on workers' comp. And I didn't know at the time, but she was actually, she had someone, keeping an eye. Was her story genuine? And it wasn't. And I thought, wow, I put in so much effort and it's not supporting someone who's genuine. I got into aged care accidentally. Someone asked me to back into it, like fill in for the day. And when I walked in, I wasn't scared of, the frail old people. I saw that the care was genuine and the care that workers were giving was genuine. And I haven't looked back since. I've created my own role because when I started, not many psychologists were specializing in aged care. And I've had the privilege over the years to train a number of other mental health professionals to explore this area of work.
Wow. So tell us, for those who don't know, and obviously we do have a fair few people that are already in aged care, but why gerontology? What's it mean and why your passion for it?
I believe every person deserves to be, treated with respect and dignity, regardless of, where they are in their life. And if we can enhance the quality of lives of those in their twilight years, isn't that remarkable? Isn't it a privilege to support people at the later stages of their life? Often people think about psychology and maybe look behind me and go, you don't have a red couch, where do I lie down? It is not about that. It is around how we can improve the quality of where they are. So I've been so passionate, Owen, about, reducing psychotropics, improving non-pharmacological strategies, because, ultimately, if the clients are better, staff are going to find it easier to support them and enjoy their workplace as well. So it has the flow-on effect, the relationship between how elders feel, how the workers feel, how the management look after their people.
Love that. Very relevant on Aged Care Employee Day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to? Because you're going to leave before we do our open mic and our shout outs, but is there anyone that you'd like to recognize in your travels over the years that really, deserves to be mentioned?
I think it's for those quiet, unspoken heroes that often don't get mentioned. So, that they feel that, their job, I'm just working in aged care, I'm just, doing things quietly. My shout out goes to those unspoken heroes, really, who feel perhaps they're not loud out there, they're not, making noise. I think that they are also, respected. So I'm not going to name specific names. I'm just going to, say, the quiet, unspoken heroes.
I've got it, the diplomatic approach, because you'll then have a whole bunch of people going, why didn't you say my name? I thought we were friends.
Exactly. Got to be diplomatic. Yep.
And I was just going to add to that too, Julie. I mean, the role you play, quite interesting. I've had discussions probably the last 3 months about your role in aged care, from staff well-being and just the impact on um, the residents, because I think sometimes we forget that there's two sides here. There's residents, but there's also this extremely valuable workforce, which we're celebrating today, that also carry a lot of the emotional tolls of operation, loss, everything on the side of the day-to-day. So originally, is that where you started, or did you?
I started with the elders, and then I did my PhD about well-being in the workforce. And so I was looking at that relationship between the well-being in clients and how that was impacting the workers. So there's this big theory called emotional contagion, which was the core of my research. So, when you watch a lovely romantic movie and you go, wow, this is so sweet, this is so lovely, it leaves you in a positive mood. At the same time, when you watch something on the news about violence, war zone, it has a negative effect on you. So what my PhD research was looking in those relationships between the clients and workers. And whilst we do know the positive effects, can create lasting impact, the concern is, what about those negative emotions? How do they impact the workers? And how do they? And that's what I really looked at. And since my PhD, which I finished, 10 years ago, I have really focused a lot more on the workforce. It was a gradual process whereby I reduced, because I used to have a team of psychologists working for me, and we used to visit 58 aged care homes. And I thought, I don't really want to stay there. I think part of me was also a little bit sad, going, I've seen so many people, they've passed away, and, the legacy kind of didn't continue. So I thought, if I train the workers, then ultimately they can support more, more residents well. And so I've moved into the workforce. And over the last few years, I've moved more into, the management side of things, as in, like, how do we minimize the risks? How do we minimize things? Because I go there, I do training, or I do whatever support they need from me. And then I realized, wow, there's so many risks that maybe they're not really aware of.
That's right, aware of. And have you seen a change since the new standards has come in? Because really,
absolutely, huge awareness around the psychosocial risks, from 1st of July, about the importance of that. How do we mitigate those risks? How do we keep workers safe? I think that it's a huge area. Yeah, absolutely.
And do you see the directors understanding the role? And I guess as we continue into these new post-reform operations, and with a new regulator and complaint commissioner now as well, that being something that for the directors that are listening in to really understand the role and the importance that an organization such as yourselves really has in this new operations world. I mean, not to say it wasn't needed before, but I feel the amount of times I've had this discussion in the last 3 months, more than I probably have in the last 10 years, which to me is saying
it's a very good question. Yeah, it's a really good question, Rob. I think that, the issue comes around, from my perspective, I don't know if this is also what you guys have noticed, but from my perspective, I'm not coming to organization as a threat. And I think that there's been so much built up from aged care, going, oh, you're going to come and tell us that we're doing something wrong. We're fine. We don't need help. And I'm like, well, actually, you can't be aware of the risks if you don't know what they are. And how can we mitigate them if we don't know that they're there in the first place, So my role has been about, I've recently trained myself in becoming an accredited mediator. Let's minimize the risk of things hitting the complaints. Let's minimize the risk of a worker going on workers' comp. How can we improve things? Because I know statistically, I've only just been recently in Canberra for the International Association of Workplace Bullying and Harassment Conference. If a worker is off work for a month, the chance of them getting back to work is very minimal. So can we fix things before they become problems? Can we do prevention? Can we work on things as opposed to, letting things become more of an issue? And I feel that we're shifting that now by raising awareness and making aged care sexy.
Wow, there we go, Anne. Bring in
I
sexy.
don't mind that at all. I don't mind that. I actually want to ask about your podcast. Before we do, I want to read out a couple of messages because I think today we're going to be inundated with messages, and I don't want to read them all at the end. So quick shout out to Julie Hogarth Williams on the bus.
Yes.
Forgot her headphones.
Hey, Julie.
She's going to be joining later. And bring a crowd of bus goers with her. So yeah, racing awareness.
Can we also mention, Ant, that the Hearts and Heroes event that Julie, Libby, Tejwan, and Nicole are doing? It's just so relevant to today because it's all about celebrating our unsung heroes who are the aged care workers. So thank you, Julie and team, and the great work.
I think that's going to be one of the events of the future.
We're excited for that. And also the Seniors Channel and the great work they do. You would have seen that out there in the when you're in the homes and the the different spaces. And so that's an invaluable content, meeting the needs of residents who feel isolated, who potentially feel disconnected from community. And you've got this great content, Julie, that makes them, go back to the times when they were a part of community and the sort of things that they're missing out on, and the great job you're doing of bringing that connection. So thank you.
Yeah, I could definitely see that Seniors Channel going worldwide. I think she's had a few conversations. I won't spoil anything or speak incorrectly. But I'll let her share that next time she's on. Shout out to Liz Bajic, and I apologize again if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But she says, "Happy Aged Care Employee Day to almost 456,000 aged care workers looking after approximately 1.3 million Australians receiving aged care services." I'm hoping Liz jumps on a bit later because she's got you are ACE Award winners to announce. And then we've got Libby Hema for another show. Happy Aged Care Employee Day to all of you superstars, she says. Hopefully we get to see her a bit later on. And I want to ask about the podcast. How did that come about? What do you talk about on the podcast? And tell us a bit about that journey. That's definitely something.
So podcast has been a journey rather than being sporadic. I started with Voice of Aged Care, so I invited a lot of guests around, running men's group, running pet therapy. It's like, come to our podcast, talk about it. It's still a resource now. Like those episodes are quite old now, but still, hey, come and talk about that. Then I moved into the podcast just about, so you work in aged care. So that was my next phase. So I feel like it was like different phases that I've gone on. And now, because I've been stepping also a little bit outside the sector into, disability, community centre, it's from aged care to anywhere. Because a lot of these things that we're talking about, the emotional load, the giving, the caregiving, the risks and all that, are really noted in other, sectors as well. So I'm not leaving aged care. I'm just expanding on that, that awareness, because no matter where I go now, they go, oh, I'm working in, I don't know, telecommunications or, another area, but I have aging parents, or I have, I've worked in aged care before. So I feel like, it's not a silo. It's about making those connections. So
big respect to you for doing that. Yeah. Because it's back when you started it wouldn't have been easy. Nowadays, anyone can start one, and everyone has, which is great, because the more stories about aged care that are out there, the a rising tide lifts all ships.
Absolutely.
Butcher that one. But back then it would have been hard.
Absolutely, it was hard, and it was hard, like from the word go, where to start recording and stuff. But you know what? I worked out the best thing is to go to a studio and set up couple of days and ask people what they want most, what are their most commonly asked questions, and then I'll go listen to this episode. So
could you pick one episode that if we had to watch one to get a sense of who you are, and where can we listen to it or watch? Is it audio or is it video as well? Which episode should we jump into?
Video. It's on my website, wisecare.com.au/podcast. I'm more than happy to share the link and provide it.
There you go, guys. Jump on. Have a listen.
Put it into the notes.
Yeah.
Well, I've got some of the data I just wanted to also talk about.
Absolutely.
Too.
We'll be getting some show ideas out of that.
No, absolutely.
But 100 episodes we can go through. Pet therapy.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of that one before. Maybe that's an upcoming episode for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how many people enjoy listening to podcasts on their commute and, you know, out and about. And I find it's a good way.
Julie.
You know, not everyone, yeah, like Julie on the bus. Not everyone, you know, is into reading. So it's good to work with people in different senses around how they absorb information. Yeah.
Well, you're very humble, Julie. I think what you've achieved is quite remarkable, and certainly 2 decades. 2011 now was when you started Carewise, so that's
In 2011,
how time flies.
Time flies. I'm actually just writing my 3rd book. I know Anthony mentioned my 1st book, but I've wrote 2 books. First one is Beyond the Reluctant Move, about moving into aged care. The second one is Beyond the Unexpected Changes in Late Life, because often people are like, hey, I'm totally well till something happens and something is not okay. And then the third one I'm working on is now Beyond the Hidden Risks and how we identify those risks within the organization.
Very cool.
What leaders miss and why, you know, why it matters, why it's important. So I do wear a lot of hats. I'm still involved with academia. I do consulting. I supervise students, and I have a range of activities that keep me occupied. So I think Anthony would probably never be able to find me a job because I do so many different things.
Challenge, Anthony.
I think she'd be more in the creating jobs type of space. So hey, need people, let me know.
Dreaming up the new jobs of the future, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's more about being aware about other opportunities and how we can do that. Happy to share the links with Libby, no problems. I can do that.
Yeah,
Libby.
What was it again? What was the website? I'll just type it out and anyone can paste it in there.
wisecare.com.au/podcast.
And Julie, on that, just so the listeners can be, anchored as they're understanding more of really the importance of this role within our sector and even wider industries too. But we did have some really good news 6 days ago as the aged care pay packets went up again. So that's fantastic for all the employees out there, and certainly this has been the biggest wage correction our sector has really ever seen. So that's fantastic. But the downside of some of that data is that the new national data is telling us that more than half of our residential care workforce is burnt out. And of that, a quarter, screen positive for depression. And the people leaving, they're not citing the money, as their first reason. They're citing exhaustion. So just to really anchor, what you're doing and WiseCare's outcomes there, it's very important because to look after our residents, we need to look after our staff, and I feel we're on the right direction with some of the the monetary approaches, but the staff aren't doing this for the money first, and that's really what they're citing. So do you have a view on
they are doing they're doing that because they cared for their loved one and they love caring, and looking at how we can support them is obviously they still have to pay groceries and their bills, and they can't say, I work in aged care, therefore, please excuse my mortgage repayment. I think that it's about them being aware around what supports are available within the organization, what supports are available externally. For some of them, it is about having opportunities, like some research that I'm going to be working on shortly. It's looking at how can we look at what supervision support is in there for me. Not supervision like going, hey, Ant, are you doing that job properly? But going, hey, Ant, I know that you were close with Bob and he passed away last week. Are you okay? About that. We're not doing that. We're having meetings with workers when there are problems, not to support them. And I think that there's still a lot of fear for workers around how, I don't want to look like the weakest link by saying I need support. So how do we structure that support? How do they know around, access to support within the organization? And, no offense, like pizzas and all that is not going to fix all the problems. It is around that flexibility, and people feeling there's this whole big concept in research we call about perceived organizational support. And do I perceive that my employer is looking after me? And what that support looks like is very different for people. So what I've been doing is going to organisations. Sorry?
Yeah. What would be the results of that in terms of the POS outcome? How many organisations are kind of, perceived these actually delivering?
I think it's very subjective, Owen. It's really what, and I, we can't go to aged care homes and say, hey guys, the four of us have decided we're going to shout out donuts and we're going to do that every Friday. There'll be people who hate donuts. There'll be people who will say that's not enough. There'll be people who are indifferent to it. I think it's so much about looking at those staff surveys, engagement, and measuring it from that point of view. So I've been going to organisations and doing a bit of a detoxification report, so to say, to look at what strategies have we got in place, are there opportunities that we can enhance this environment to make it more appealing. And the best thing to do is to listen to the workers and to understand. And so if you have happy workers, managers are happy, they want to stay there, they want to keep on supervising them. You have return residents, like return customers and all that, and everyone's happy. But it's kind of hard when it's disjointed, when it's not working as one system. And I think and I hope from 1st of July that we can see it as a whole system,
And Julie, you talk about it
in the last 18 months around awareness for psychological safety for workers. So there have been more uptake for incidents, like when there is something that happens unexpected, like a critical incident, a resident passes away after a choking episode, or, there's been a physical altercation, or there's been staff members who got into a heated argument about racism. They are calling out for support from external mental health professionals to support the workforce, and that's great. That never used to happen. But you know what, Rob, to answer your question, from day one, I did go to a nursing home, and first time I stepped in, when I said I'm a psychologist, so many workers came to me and said, you're a psychologist, I'm the one that needs support, not, Betty over there in that room, because psychologists routinely go into it.
Yeah. And you talk about this emotional contagion. Explain also a little bit more for the listeners how a distressed workforce and a distressed resident population feed off each other in that symbiosis.
Absolutely. So it's good when it's positive. It's good when you have a crappy day in the morning, you get to the nursing home and the resident said, you made my day. You feel great. They feel great. Right. Everyone's happy. But the problem is if you've, if you pass on negative emotions to others, if you can't switch off when you go to work and you go, you know what, I had a fight this morning with my spouse and I'm coming to work and I hate, my life, and that becomes a problem. Negative emotional contagion is a huge problem. It's about, perhaps residents who are not doing well, who are passing on those negative emotions to staff. And, they could be aggressive. There could be lots of things going on, maybe partially due to dementia, maybe due to personality stuff, whereby you've got workers, no one wants to go and support them. And workers are going, you know what? I don't want to go there. And maybe it's a little bit hard in residential care where you actually have no choice, where you're rostered and that's where you need to work. But I've seen it in home care settings where workers on their app have, go here. I choose not to go and see that client. He's too depressed. He's too down. And that actually impacts me. I don't want to go there anymore. So emotional contagion is a double-edged sword. You've got the positive side, but we need to mitigate the risk.
Definitely the phrase for today, emotional contagion. Everyone, try and work that into a conversation with your employees. And we've got some comments flying at the moment.
They're coming thick and fast. Yeah. Well, the latest one, let me go back. The one from Liz Bajic. Today we are celebrating all the recipients of our URACE Awards. We had over 500 nominees from across Australia for the 15 awards that are being delivered by our fabulous teams, headed by CEO Tom Simonson today. That is a great initiative and really does highlight the efforts of everyone, especially on this day. And Julie says she's Julie Hogarth Williams, big fan of Dr. Julie for a long time. So she says it's so wonderful to listen to your passion. One day, I hope we meet.
Absolutely.
Well, let's make that happen. So a Julie thing.
Yeah.
Have you heard much about the ACE Awards? Oh, sorry, there's more. There's more comments.
There's a bit more. We've got Alexandra Services Fall in the house. She'll be joining us shortly. We'll bring her on.
Come on,
right from the roof. And Borhan Milani, I think that's might be a new, you've brought in a new crowd for us, Julie. So Borhan Milani says, I've come to believe that supporting our workers can't be an afterthought. It has to be built into the design and systems of our workforce from the start. Absolutely. And Libby Hema, she says the initiatives need to be targeted at the culture and background of the staff. What makes them feel valued? Pizza does not. Proactive approach, not reactive. Nailed it,
Unless
Libby.
It's really good pizza, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm mindful of your time, Julie. Is there anything that you really wanted to say today that we might not have covered? Because, or what are the thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Look, aged care has shaped my career and still shapes how I see people. You know, time is precious, make more memories, how organizations work and how we deliver care. And even though my work has now broadened, the values I learned in aged care remain foundational. And the sector has taught me how and what meaningful care really can look like. And I'm so grateful for that. And, you know, I think at the end of the day, you know, today is about celebrating the people who show up every day for all the Australians. And I feel so privileged that, you know, I've been able to be here with you guys today and to, you know, acknowledge all the hard work that they do.
Oh, we love your heart, Julie Bajic Smith, and we love Wise Care and what you're doing. And you are welcome back anytime. You are definitely a friend.
Absolutely. And you know what, guys, leaders need support too, not just the frontline workers. The emotional load doesn't disappear just because you are a senior. So, you know, let's shout out to everyone, you know, in aged care from bottom up.
Absolutely. Let's celebrate our heroes in name badges, our Aged Care Employee Day. And come back soon, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Happy birthday.
Bye, Julie.
Thank you.
And happy birthday. Yes. Enjoy your celebrations. Your special day.
Cool. Now we're going to bring on Alexander. Oh, before we bring on Alexander, let me just read out a few. So I did reach out to a few people to say we've got Aged Care Employee Day. It's a theme. Do you want to give anyone a shout out? So let me read out a couple of messages that we got last year. I don't know if you guys remember, but we did have Adam Roebuck send a video talking about, you know, just he actually said I wanted to give a shout out to the leaders because of the exactly what Julie said, the emotional toll that they shoulder as well. This time he's got a different angle. So he said, hello, Anthony. Wonderful to hear from you as always. You've picked a day where I'm back to back, but here are some thoughts. Rather than nominate one person, I would love to give a broader shout out to the extraordinary people across Western Australia who are working to reshape aged care, disability services, and community housing. I am fortunate at present to be involved in a number of projects that give me a close view of what is happening across the sector. Brightwater, shout out to Brightwater, is developing WA's first purpose-built home specifically for people living with young onset dementia at Waikiki.
Great.
It is a significant project because it recognizes that people developing dementia in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s need something very different from a traditional residential aged care environment. Juniper, shout out to Juniper Aged Care. Juniper is making a substantial investment in regional staff housing across Western Australia in places such as Fitzroy Crossing, Kununurra, Katanning, and Geraldton. Providing good quality accommodation is not simply a property issue. It is fundamental to attracting and retaining the people required to provide sustainable care in regional communities. And then he gives a shout out to Ability WA. And he's saying they're continuing to develop its metropolitan hub model, bringing services closer to people with disability and their families and creating environments designed around how people actually access support. And across WA, I am also seeing and working with not-for-profit organizations that are investing heavily in new residential aged care facilities, retirement living, social housing, and affordable housing. And some of the innovation is just next level. And this is the bit he highlighted. He said the common thread through all of these projects is people, just beautiful people. Buildings and infrastructure are important, but they only have purpose because of the employees who care for residents, support customers and families, operate services, and continually challenge us to design better environments. So for Aged Care Employee Day, my shout out is to all of those people, particularly those who are prepared to help shape the next generation of care environments while continuing to deliver care every day. Thanks, mate, Adam. Thanks, Adam. That was beautiful.
What a legend. We love Adam. We've got to have him back. I mean, he's a specialist in aged care building. And design to include,
if you want to build in aged care, hit him up.
He's your guy.
He might say no, though. He'll probably say no. He's got too much on.
He's too busy. His people will talk to your people.
A lot happening on the Western Front, isn't there?
Here we go, Alexandra.
Hey,
Happy
Welcome
Care
back,
Employee Day. How is everybody?
Happy,
Great.
joy.
Too much?
Yes.
Too much.
Better than your year.
How good is that? Every time I talk to Alexandra, it's like having a shot of coffee. She just blows out to the screen.
That was Julie's point, the contagion. I mean, I love the double side, you know. Now it's a
I must admit, I was listening to the back end of Julie's chat before, and just thinking about how everybody is interconnected, and if we're feeling good and then we share that, it grows, and it's just that, you know, it's that organic piece that happens. And I think, you know, Anthony's always said to me, how many coffees are you having before 9 o'clock? But it's like, it's, you know, and I think to the point as well before, like, aged care is amazing. We are all rock stars in aged care. And I think we sometimes need to remember that, and, you know, and celebrate that, and just be super excited about this amazing sector that we work in, because we are blessed to work with our beautiful clients, whether it's in resi or in community. So I
think we need to do an air guitar solo after you said that. Rock stars of aged care.
Well, you know what? We are very special, very unique, and super important. So, yeah, bring it on.
Come on. And speaking of rock stars, Ant, we've got a few people making comments on our LinkedIn page. A friend of the show, Tanya Southworth.
It doesn't show up on this side. Oh, right. Okay, because it doesn't show up on the StreamYard. So I got to open up. If you could read those out, I need to open up.
She's doing a great job, as we know, with down in Wollongong with the STARS program, for those who don't know, and what they're doing around liaison between the hospitals to the aged care homes, and doing the ATAC assessments to make sure people are ready. And she says, thank you. Thanks also for being amazing advocates, guys, for all things aged care. Kevin McCretton, friend of the show, he's been on a couple of times. You're bringing great energy and vectors for discussion, guys. Keep up the great work. And Emma Newman, we had on the other day, your friend, Ant. Your voice,
Emma Newman, beautiful human.
Stories. Beautiful person, and great story, Emma. And our passion for the work our teams do tireless every day. Thanks for all that you do, Anthony, and happy ACE Day. ACE Day. Make it ACE.
ACE Day.
So,
the aces.
And while we're in the flow of shout outs, you must have a few, Alexandra.
Oh gosh. All right. So I thought you'd never ask. No. No, I guess I want to shout out first and foremost to my amazing team here at GOC Care. I think everybody, and as we and as we said before, I think it's everybody from our direct workers out in the field all the way to also my senior leadership team.
I always say to my guys, we are all just one little piece of a big puzzle, and when we're all humming beautifully, that is what gets us our best outputs for our clients. So a huge shout out to the GOC Care team. But I guess as well, I also want to shout out a little bit more holistically to the amazing state of Queensland and the people that build aged care, both in a community perspective, but also residential. You know, our beautiful friends at Rockpool, at Palm Lake, you know, our friends out at Hinterland, out in the regional parts of Queensland. We've got a hard gig here in Queensland. You know, it's not a small state, but we do a ripper job. So well done to everybody, and keep it going, guys. It's so important.
Respect.
Absolutely, Alex. Well, you'll have to join us when we have the Rockpool show coming up. So Mel and the team we're scheduling in. So we'll
that'd be cool.
hear more about that and then some of those innovators that you've called out. But I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Hey, Alexander, do you want to do the honors? Do you want to read this out? Because it's actually covering your half of the screen, but it's a big message. But
sure,
yeah,
okay.
Do the honors.
Okay, so this is from Emmanuel. I need to step out, but please, a shout out message below to LAC staff. A heartfelt thank you to our amazing team of LAC. Despite the ongoing challenges facing the aged care sector, you continue to provide compassionate, high quality care and support to our residents every day. Your kindness, dedication, professionalism and resilience make a genuine difference in the lives of residents and their families. Thank you for all that you do. We appreciate and value each and every one of you. Happy, I'm assuming, ACE Day. So thank you so much, Emmanuel. I think that's amazing for your staff.
So that's
he ran out of characters. He had that much to say. Come on,
we're getting a new crowd. We get some new names that we haven't seen.
Yeah,
so,
we're loving this new
that's
crew.
Awesome.
Well, that's cool. And obviously, has everyone said thank you to you boys as well? Without you guys, a whole heap of us would not have a voice. So thank you as well, because it takes a village to get aged care out there.
Oh,
well, thank you. I actually didn't think about
look
that.
Look at you all get all quiet
we're here for the ride
now.
Stop it.
Yeah, Owen's blushing from the head down.
You got to
stick around.
Good.
I want to read this out from Phil McNee. He's expressed interest in coming back as well. So he was on about a year ago. Phil McNee is the Chief Operating Officer at Bupa Aged Care. So I did reach out to him if he wanted to give a shout out, and he said, "Here's a link to the post if you could shout this out." But look at these bananas.
Somebody lost it by the looks of things. And what's the story with the bananas?
But for those who aren't able to read and they're just listening, so he says, golden moments aren't always the ones caught on camera. They don't just happen by accident. They are created by people who choose to care. I've been fortunate to witness some incredible moments in our aged care homes over the years. Not the ones planned for a brochure, the ones created by ordinary people quietly doing extraordinary things every day, like the team member who arrived from overseas, starts as a cleaner, becomes a carer, studies to become a nurse, and one day leads an entire clinical team as a care manager.
Love that.
And he talks about a personal care worker who spends their day caring for residents at work before heading home to care for an aging parent, a child with additional needs, or volunteering as a lifesaver, footy coach, or community leader. Or the chef who waded through floodwater and hitched a ride on the back of a fire truck because residents still needed to be fed at the care home. Or the nurse who stayed through a cyclone rather than go home after their shift because they couldn't bear the thought of residents facing the storm without familiar faces around them. Or the laundry assistant who brings her children in on her day off to visit residents who have no family nearby simply because she cares. The regional and support teams who spend countless hours away from their own families, quietly supporting homes and relentlessly advocating for our residents and teams. These are just a handful of stories I've been privileged to witness. They remind me that the real golden moments in aged care aren't always the big celebrations. They're the quiet acts of kindness, the sacrifices no one asks people to make, the moments when someone chooses to put another person before themselves. That spirit exists in every one of our homes every single day. To everyone who works in aged care, whether you're supporting residents directly or helping our teams behind the scenes, thank you. I'm incredibly proud to work alongside you and proud to be part of a business and sector filled with people who choose compassion, generosity, and service every day. We have been celebrating golden moments this week at #Booper, Aged Care Australia. It has been time to recognize not only the moments themselves, but the remarkable people who create them. Let's celebrate Aged Care Employee Day this Friday, 7th August. So Phil, if you know Phil, he's very sincere about all of this. He's the chief operating officer of one of the largest aged care providers, but he's a regular bloke who gives everyone a crack. His motto is have a crack. So good on you, Phil.
We love Phil. Good on you, Phil. Yes, we will have a crack. And we love his passion for team building. That really came through in our interview with him. I think he was ex-military, wasn't he? And he learned camaraderie and how you get alongside your team in the trenches. And so he's a big fan of making sure the team work well together and no one feels alone. Gosh, you couldn't have said that better. Julie Hogarth-Williams, you got more content for your aged care channel there. We've got to have Phil, I think, do a segment on just reading that. It was like listening to one of the great poems of old, I thought.
I think what is also really cool with that is that is probably the experience of many of us as well. And please, and I'm not by any means taking, I think I'm just reiterating that what Phil has shared is literally happening in our homes everywhere across Australia. The people that work in aged care are they are gold. They are our unicorns in society. They are literally the people that are there working for others, helping others. I always say we're people working with people for people. And it just listening to that just warms my heart that there's more people out there that we're doing this really amazing work because it's got such meaning and purpose. Like, why wouldn't you want to work in aged care? I don't get it. More people need to come work here.
Well, the fact that aged care isn't sexy makes it even even more special about the.
Yes,
we say it is.
I guess the fact that people think aged care isn't sexy.
Yeah,
let me rephrase. We think it's sexy. We're in the know. If you know, you know, right? Yeah. So we know. But
those not everyone in aged care wears a uniform. You know that too. So it's important.
But they jump in it not for the glamour. They jump in it because of the difference that they can make to the connection, the people. So they're not in it to boast, improve their own status or egos or whatever.
Good
they're in
humans.
it for the right reasons.
Good humans.
Well, what I'm hearing there is it's not the 9 to 5. I mean, you've got the laundry worker bringing her kids on the day off because she feels for the residents that don't have family nearby. I mean, what a beautiful story. And the people that go out of their way, they don't leave it at the end of the shift.
No,
they're thinking
I know when I was in Resi, it was not unusual on school holidays that many of us actually brought our kids in on school holidays for their volunteer hours. The first day was the push, but every day thereafter, the kids were coming in on their own accord because they wanted to sit with Mr. Smith and play chess and hear his stories about when he was, flying planes in wars and things like that. And that interaction, you build the next generation of good humans as well. And I think that's that piece that once you're in there and you understand how amazing aged care is, you kind of by osmosis, everyone else is coming with you too.
Love
indeed.
That. You've given me an idea there too, Alexandra. Why not, as the primary school kids come in, sign them up for work experience in year 10 early?
Look, you know what?
Lock in that good human pathway.
Do you know what? We really try, and I think in my experience, we did a lot of that work with not only like the high schools and things like that, but also trying to do more intergenerational stuff as well. So getting primary school groups come and do their music concerts or do art groups with with the residents. There is so much that we can do to enrich the lives of our clients and our residents, whether they're in the community-based or in a residential facility. But as we said, it's about the good humans that are doing it, and the more we get and the momentum that we build, I just get excited about where we could be in a year's time or 5 years' time. And you guys know how passionate I am about this. I love it. I love it.
Go on, cast the vision for a moment, Alexandra. What do you see in the next 3 to 5 years? How is this industry going to change, do you think, to meet the need?
I'm going to leave the political stuff aside with aged care and whatnot. If I could wave a magic wand, where would I like to see it in 3 to 5? Yeah. I would like us building proper custom-built aged care homes that are fit for purpose for the next generation that are coming. What we have now is okay, and we all know that. But what we could do could be amazing. So make it so that people are not left isolated, that we have less focus in on individual rooms and individual, like everyone will have that, but make more shared spaces, build connections, build spaces where our residents can tap in and tap out of that communal living and things like that. I think that's probably where we need to go. What does it look like from an employee? I'm not even going to say employee, because I think it goes beyond employees. I think it's volunteers. It's how we build and how we wrap a community around our aged care homes and our aged care services out in the community as well. Yes. It is, what's important to us in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Why is it that at the moment we go, oh, you can have some of it when you get to residential? And some organisations are doing this amazingly, where they go, you know what? You've just changed your address. You can still jump on the bus and head to the shops, and you can still do these things. It's really about empowering people to go, your mind and your heart is still there. Your body might be giving up on you, but you haven't changed. So why is there this stigma that aged care, whether it's in their home or in a residential facility, is that's it, you're in your last chapter? Well, I challenge that. I would say bugger that. I would say there is so much more. Yeah. And it's our responsibility to do that. So I look at 5 years' time, it would be lovely if we could have better, more fit for purpose buildings. And obviously there's a whole issue with funding and whatnot, but let's build buildings that make sense and allow us to build connections, because we know that in a community space, we are becoming more isolated. Like everyone has a phone, everybody's on their iPads, everyone's on some sort of app, but we're missing this. We're missing sitting down and having a coffee and, that kind of thing. So let's build that, and then let's wrap the people around our older people and our elders to go, how can we enable you to #live your best life? Because that's what they deserve, right? Because we wouldn't be where we are without them having built that path for us. So
Alexandra for president.
Love it. No. Yeah, I'm thinking that too. Alexandra, Prime Minister of Australia,
the aged care
who talks about it and actually does it. There we go.
That's it.
Look, she's got big dreams, big aspirations, little baby steps, but there is absolutely room for us to continue to improve. And I think that is what's going to be expected of us when my beautiful parents' age of the boomers, the silver tsunami. They are absolutely, they know what they want. So let's get in there now. Let's start talking about that now and actually enabling that piece. So, Anyway,
hey,
I could talk about this for hours.
Hey, we're going to have you on again, Alexandra. Just quickly, Julie, if you're listening, please do jump on, Julie, when you get a chance. But in the meantime, there is another email that I want to read out. And this is from, actually, I did try to play a video from David Moran. David Moran is the CEO of Southern Cross Care South Australia, Northern Territory, and Vic. Couldn't play the video, couldn't figure it out. So sorry, David, but shout out to you and your people. Big fan of his. But I do have an email from the CEO of Southern Cross Care WA, and that's Claire Griffson. And she said, thanks, Anthony. I can't make the show today, but would love to give a shout out to Cheryl Hahn. And Cheryl Hahn is Southern Cross Care WA's facility manager in Kalgoorlie at Victoria Park House in Kalgoorlie.
In the Red Dust. Yeah.
In the Red Dust. So Cheryl is the recipient of Aging Australia's UR ACE Award today in the individual category of consumer focus and care. Cheryl embodies the very best of person-centered aged care. She is passionate about creating opportunities for residents to remain connected to their interests, community, and sense of purpose, what Alexandra was talking about, and has led initiatives that enhance well-being, independence, and quality of life. Through strong community partnerships, innovative programs, and a genuine commitment to resident choice and dignity, Cheryl has made a lasting impact on the lives of residents, families, and colleagues alike. Her Leadership, kindness, and unwavering dedication reflect the values that define Southern Cross Care WA. Kind regards, Claire. Oh my God, to get a shout out in the public space from your CEO, you got to be doing some good things. And you are recognized. You got the URACE award from Aging Australia. So
what a legend, Cheryl Hahn. Let's raise the roof for
her. Cool. Yeah. So I've got one more. So let me finish out all the messages. One more. This last one is from David Brennan, the CEO of Huon Regional Care. I think they're in Tasmania. Yeah. Hi, Anthony. Thanks for the email. This year we gave a postcard to our residents and families, and we posted one to our support at home and CHSP clients and invited them to share any words they may have for our staff for Aged Care Employee Day. We received over 130 back. We've scanned them. We put the comments into a book of appreciation, which shares the comments and enables our over 360 staff and 30 volunteers to read and soak in the positive impact that they are having. As this book contains many staff names and those of older people, I can't share it. However, I will share 2 quotes. The first is from a support at home client to a specific member of staff, which warmed my heart. And the quote is, "Since the 2 years I have been out of hospital, you have taken me from a dark place to a happy place. I thank you for your kindness, your helpfulness, your attitude. It is a great pleasure. I thank you for everything." That is beautiful.
Tell me that's not why we do what we do.
That's what we do. And the second is from a husband of one of our residents who passed away. And the quote is, "I spent 2 years with my wife in care at Huon Aged Care at Franklin, and I cannot say enough good things about the way she was looked after until her passing. They always treated her with respect and dignity. Nothing was too much to ask for. Your lovely carers made it all worthwhile." So he finished off the email saying, "Our staff go above and beyond. Today, I thank them for caring and the incredible job they do every day. Warm regards, David Brennan." That's where you want to put your family, right?
Yeah.
Hold back the tears there. How good is that? Well done. What an amazing effort.
Yeah.
Wow. And so a book of appreciation for those out there. Why not?
Yeah. Alexandra, any final? Great to have you on. I want to have you on again. But any final messages before?
No, just happy Friday, happy Aged Care Day. Keep fighting the good fight and be proud of where we work, guys. Well done.
Love it. Come back soon, Alexandra.
Great to see you. Have a great weekend.
All right.
And so Julie is there, is that right?
No, we've actually got David Moran in the back, but he's trying to connect his device. Okay. So David, if you can hear us, blink twice. But we'll wait until you get your device sorted. But Julie is also, I think she's going to be jumping on soon. But what do you guys think? How's it's been a good day.
It's been a great day. And I've just been seeing some of the photos. Some of the photos got Mark Sewell catching up with some of the old teams. So even, past, present, future, all coming together out there today. So great posts on LinkedIn there with some of the old teams of the executives of the yesteryears, if you will. Yeah. So it's never, it just shows the job's never done in aged care. It just keeps on moving.
David's not that. We're not saying that, David. You're not attached to that comment.
No.
You are very current and very real. And how's everything in your world?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Rocky. Anyone remembers last episode?
I had to get out of the link and I had to go and get into LinkedIn again. So I wasn't I've watched the whole show.
Got to turn it on and off
technology.
Again. The old turn it on.
Yeah, great with tech. So great show, guys.
Thank you.
Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I would like to be. Yes. There's a lot of
where we do need Julie on. Julie is the singer.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Julie.
Yeah.
She wants it.
So who are you shouting out, David?
Oh, just everyone. I mean, it's hard to do individuals. I mean, I've got 2,800 odd staff, so absolutely want to highlight
pick your favorite
amazing
child.
work.
It's a few.
Amazing work that they do. However, interestingly, I loved all the bits you've had on. Phil's comments were just incredible, and then obviously, you've seen obviously Alexandra on, who was incredible as well. But I always think, we're always in that Christmas time, New Year period where everyone goes on holidays. Some people get to leave the service to visit, families, and then there's those that can't. And the staff that are there, that's supporting the people that might be experiencing loneliness and turning up at those times a year. That's when I really feel those staff are. That's some really a golden time, because they're seeing, they're probably seeing other people go off with their families, getting visitors, and some don't, and they don't get to experience that kind of spirit. And so it's the staff there, the individuals that turn up and are just so important. They put power one person walking into a room smiling and being welcoming, and all of that is just incredible. So we always make a point of highlighting that every year when I'm writing my message in the magazine. I always kind of highlight that, because it's just pretty incredible. And but in terms of individuals, I will shout one out. We've got a residential services manager in Darwin called Jan Marlborough. She could have retired years ago, and she's still holding the fort for us up there, turning up, running a service. They have a lot of turnover of staff because people come in out of Darwin a lot, and just been an absolute trooper and a great person for Southern Cross Care over the last decade. And and highly experienced. I mean, the government love her, both Territory and Commonwealth, the people up there. So
fantastic.
What was her name again? Jane?
Jan Marlborough. And she's a residential services manager in Darwin. And I think she's had a long career too in aged care, and really deserves kind of to have the roof blown off, not by a cyclone this time, but by us.
By us, yes, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And I love the concept that Julie talked about, that emotional contagion. Isn't that incredible? And I know we do a lot of work with our residents and clients on that through the arts. So we try and use that as the emotional contagion around that positivity and fun and getting rid of the boredom. But with the staff, how do you then build that with them around what you're doing at different site level and for home care workers? And you do things like cultural days, and we kind of encourage people to bring themselves to work. Leave your home stuff home. Well, no, bring who you are to work, because residents are interested in it, and love the cultural aspects of that. Yeah. So when you're talking about emotional contagion, it's how do you create that positive environment for everyone. And probably with our Better for Life philosophy as well, we try and really, that real good reason, the good that people are doing by doing the work that they're doing, and the value that's attached to that. And we try and make a big point of the staff really understanding that, and they buy into it and they love it. And I think that really helps, I think. So, but I love that emotional contagion piece, because there's a lot more that can be done. Whatever you're doing, we can always do a hell of a lot more. So,
when you talk about it like that, it's
comment on.
No, that's
and I think I keep thinking I'm talking to Tom Harley, the CEO of the AFL. You're dead. Which needs the glasses.
Obviously a compliment. Yeah, and I'll just get.
He's a good player.
There you go.
and Julie's been a trooper. I mean, 8 years of doing podcasts. So good on her for doing that. A real pioneer, and she's brought the word of today. We've got Julie. Julie is doing the Hearts and Heroes Day to recognise our unsung heroes of of aged care. Obviously, Julie, I think you've got to go, but you were going to jump on and say something about that. But please check it out. That's an awesome initiative. I don't know if you've got some of your people already being submitted for that, David, or if you're aware of the day.
I'm not aware of it. So they all deserve it.
They do. They do. And what's
any good initiative?
And David, what's happening across the Southern Care, Southern Cross Care sites today? Is there? Tell us a little bit about the Woods.
You put out all this sort of celebratory things and vouchers. We give out a gift kind of a gift voucher for everyone. And so it's absolutely a celebration and recognition, and things like your podcast obviously helps promulgate that message even wider. But it's absolutely a celebration, as it should well be. I mean, we do a lot through the year. So we've got a Southern Stars program where there's a lot of nominations, and we've got FCC values, service, courage, compassion, and we have a lot of nominations every month. We have a big event at the end of the year that's really around that recognition, and it really highlights those people that you just don't always see and get recognised by others. A bit like what Phil was talking about, the people that might turn up, outside of the actual working time to come and do things with residents, and just those incredible, stories that bring people to tears. It's just incredible. So, and when you have a Southern Stars event, we read the stories out, and it just, because all the nominees are worthy, but you just end up having to pick a winner. Yeah,
it's probably the hardest bit of the whole day for you, is to pick those short few.
Yeah, it kind of all happens by committee. It all gets scored, and it goes through a pretty rigorous process. So it's not. It's
David,
like
can we?
Not a Brownlow medal, it's just really you got to.
Sorry, Dave, can we get you on? We'll get you on in a future show. I'm just conscious of the time. We need to say our goodbye. So I'll touch base with you again, David, outside of this. But Owen, if you could do your thing, play us out, and we'll say our goodbyes.
Oh, and I really wanted to ask David for one more story before we go. Is there one story, Aged Care Employee Day, David, one that really hits the heart for you?
Oh God!
Leave us on the high.
I know there's so many to choose from, and I'll put you on the spot. And
I can't, because then I can't think. I'm sorry, but there's.
It's a good problem to have when you've got so many.
It is.
And
it is just crazy. I mean, we've had people that have re-abled people and put a lot of effort into re-abling people that couldn't walk and stuff like that.
Wow.
So,
well, even the support to the families and going to funerals, and really the extension after the residents are gone from the facility. There's so many amazing stories.
It's just we had a guy that left us recently to another operator, came back after 4 weeks, and he's gold. We were crying when he left me. He emailed me and he said, "David, I'm back."
A boomerang.
And they build communities. They work on the volunteers, and they get people involved. And so there's people like that just do all these things to create a vibe and an environment in a home. And there's a lot.
That's the positive contagion, as we were talking about.
Emotional.
The other side.
Emotional contagion.
Well, here to all of your teams at Southern Cross Care, David.
We want to see more of the emotional contagion discussion, and we'd love to hear your stories about books of appreciation in the homes across Australia. To all of our heroes of aged care, we salute you. You deserve your special day, and we just are so thankful. So we raise the roof for our heroes of aged care employees. And it's that time of the day, as we always say, all for one and one for all, things aged care.
Take care, everyone. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye, David.